Okay, good day everyone, most especially to our teacher. Our topic for today is regarding the chapter 3, which is a world of regions. This is our introduction. In the 1980s, the brand line was developed as a way of showing how the world war was geographically split into relatively richer and poorer nations. Richer countries are almost all located in the northern hemisphere. Poorer countries are mostly located in the tropical regions and in the southern hemisphere. It means that regions are not natural or given. Rather, they are constructed and defined by policymakers, economic actors, and even social movements. So this lesson shows and explains regarding the poor and rich countries.
Lesson 1. Global Devices. The North and the South. The phrase Global South refers broadly to the regions of Latin America, Asia, Africa, and Oceania. It is one of a family of terms including the Third World and Periphery that denote regions outside Europe and North America, mostly, though not all, low income and often politically or culturally mar- marginalized. It is also an emerging term used by the World Bank and other organizations, identifying countries with one side of the underlying global North and South divide. The other side being the countries of the global North. The, the overwhelming majority of these countries are located in or near the tropics. It also refers to developed societies of Europe and North America, which are characterized by established democracy, wealth, etc. North. North America, Western Europe, Australia, Japan. Ho- Home of 5 permanent members of United Nations Security Council. Richer and developed region are high industrial developed. 95% has enough food and shelter and functioning education system as well. Less population, high wealth industry. South Africa, Latin and Asia. Poor and less developed region or low wealth. 5% of the population has enough food and shelter. It serves as a source for raw material for the North. Large population, low standard of living or low industrial development. Agriculture.
So, dadako naman po tayo ngayon sa lesson 1.2. The following are the issues of North-South divide. Number 1, standard of living. It means the quality and quantity of material, goods, and services available to a given population. And these are the factors that lead to low of standard of living. Number 1, lack of trade or trade deficit. So isa ito sa dahilan kung bakit bumababa ang standard of living. Nangyayari ito dahil when a country is buying more goods and services than it is selling. Second factors is single crop farming or known as monoculture farming. It means that on a given agricultural land is grown only one species of a crop at a time. Example, when a farmer grows just one crop like wheat or corn. Number 3, abundance of depth. And number 4, neocolonial to control or less developed countries by developed countries through indirect means. For example, a poor country needs some money and a rich country provides it. So the name of debt farmer loses its share of land, resources, and labors. Second, distribution of income around the world. First, liberalization of market occurs. Most South countries lost to the competition from the North. Second, encourage the migration of people from South to North for having a better income. So we all know that isa tayo sa mga nasa South global. So yung mga Filipino people, parang na-encourage sila na mag-migrate from South to North para kumita ng mas malaki para magtrabaho. Next is economic competition worldwide. So to determine the competitiveness of economy, we must consider the three factors, which are the number 1, appropriate infrastructure. So what is it mean? It refers to the physical network necessary for the functioning of modern industry. For example, buildings, bridges, railway, power supplies. The benefits of having appropriate infrastructure, it helps make it cheaper and easier to trade. It does this by helping to reduce the cost of distance and lower trade barriers and improving market access. And the importance of infrastructure to be competitive is by allowing people and business to trade. They can specialize on their relative strength and be more productive. Next, stable macroeconomic framework. It is a condition in which complex framework for monetary and fiscal institutions and policies and policies is established to reduce volatility and encourage welfare, enhancing growth. And the primary goals of macroeconomics are to achieve stable economic growth and maximize the standard of living. Number 3, well functions public and private institution o parang may maayos na gumaganang public and private institution.
Okay, so dumako naman tayo sa classifying countries. Most development countries, the richest of the industrialized and democratic nation of the world. Less development countries, countries with the least industrial development and high population. Less development countries, very low capital income. Less development countries are a list of developing countries that, according to the United Nations, exhibit the lowest indicators of socio-economic development, with the lowest human development index rating of all countries in the world. The most development countries is ito yung na-develop na at saka sila yung at mayama na-develop na, saka yung less development ay sila pa yung hindi pa na-develop. Yung less development, sila yung nakabilong sa south, at saka yung most development is sila yung nakabilong sa north.
Non-statement regionalism, it is not only states that agree to work together in the name of single cause. Communities also engage in regional organizing. These new regionalisms varies in form. They be in tiny associations that include no more than a few actors and focus on a single issue, or huge continental unions that address a multitude of common problems, from territorial defense to food security organizations. Representing this new regionalism likewise only rely on the power of individuals, non-governmental organization, and association link up with one another in pursuit of a particular goals or goals. Finally, new regionalists, they identify by reformists who share the same values, norms, institution, and system that exist outside the traditional established mainstream and system. Non-statement regionalism, it is not only states that agree to work together in the name of a single cause. Communities and non-governmental organization also engage in regional organizing.
Let's move on to lesson 3, contemporary to regionalism. Today, regionalism faces multiple challenges. The most serious resurgence of militant nationalism and populism, the refusal to dismantle NATO after the collapse of the Soviet Union, for example, has become the basis of the anti-NATO rhetoric of Vladimir Putin in Russia. Now, even the relationship of United States, the alliance's core member with NATO, has become problematic after Donald Trump demonized the organization as simply leeching off American military power without giving anything in return. Perhaps the most crisis-ridden regional organization of today is the European Union. The continuing financial crisis of the region is forcing countries like Greece to consider leaving the Union to gain more flexibility in their economic policy. Anti-immigrant sentiments and populist campaign against Europe have already led to United Kingdom voting to leave the European Union in a move the media has termed the Brexit. ASEAN members continue to disagree over the extent to which member countries should sacrifice their sovereignty for the sake of regional stability. The association's link with East Asia has also been problematic. Recently, ASEAN countries also disagreed over how to relate to China, with the Philippines unable to get other countries to support its condemnation of China's occupation of the West Philippine Sea. Cambodia and Laos led the opposition favoring diplomacy, even confrontation. But the real reason was the dramatic increase of Chinese investments and economic aid to these countries.
So moving for chapter 4, which is a world of ideas.
This is our introduction about this topic. This chapter focuses on how the globalization structures affect various forms of cultural life. Culture is used here in the broadest as possible sense, referring to the daily practices of people. Thus, this chapter will zero in on everyday globalizations in the realms of religion, culture, and city life. The major learning outcome of this is to explain the role of global processes in everyday life. Lesson 1. Global media cultures. Globalization entails the spread of various cultures. So, alam naman natin na ang media ay tumutulong para makita natin kung ano yung mga culture ng ibang bansa, like phone, through posting their videos or image sa other country ay nakikita natin kung ano yung mga culture nila. So, naging global na dahil sa media sa ngayon. So, this is the media and its functions. Lul describes media as a means of conveying something, such as a channel of communication. Technically speaking, a person's voice is a medium. However, when commentators refer to media, they mean the technologies of mass communication. So, ang function naman ng media ay like yung sinabi ko kanina na malalaman natin or makipag-communicate tayo through media kahit na yung mga parents natin or kapamilya natin na nandun sa ibang bansa, pwede nating kausapin through media or through comment sa mga post nila sa FB or sa Instagram. That is the functions of media. Global village and cultural imperialism. McLuhan used his analysis of technology to examine the impact of electronic media. He mainly analyzed the social changes brought about by television. McLuhan declared that television was turning into global village. So it means yung global village ay binigyan ni McLuhan ng example. Yung television ay naging example ng global village kasi 'di ba yung television ay may television naman din dito, for example dito sa ating bansa at ganun din sa ibang bansa. Pwede nating panoorin kung ano yung pinapanood nila at pwede nilang panoorin din yung kung ano yung pinapanood natin. So yan makikita natin na naging global village na yung television. Examples of cultural imperialism. Here are the example of cultural imperialism. The Hello Kitty remains proof of Japan's continued influence over global culture. Korean pop, K-pop, and Korean telenovelas which are widely successful regionally and globally. So kahit naman dito sa Pilipinas, mahilig sila sa mga Korean, yung mga K-dramas, cultural imperialism. And then Philippines, Jollibee claims to be the #1 choice of fast food in Brunei.
Lesson 2. The globalization of religion. Religion, much more than culture, has the most difficult relationship with globalism. First, the two are entirely constructing belief system. Religion is concerned with the sacred, while globalism places value in material wealth. Religion follows divine commandments, while globalism abides by human-made laws. Religion is indeed the most difficult in having relationship to, globalism because these two words indicates general and as a whole. Religion will never allowed to interfere in accordance to beliefs system. We all know that there are many kinds of religion, just like Christianity, Judaism, Islam, and many more. Globalization in religion has a big impact to other countries to know more about beliefs, but it also come up with a conflict because other sects may also think that it's not unfair and people may be confused of different teachings. Globalization is good when we have unity. Religion is sacred that no one can be against it because holy, while globalism focuses in material wealth for the increasement of economy and countries' ratings. Exchange in products. Religion follows the divine commandments, while globalism abides to the laws by human. In general, religion in globalization is very powerful and influential, yet it's controversial and difficult to relay just for many reasons. The goal of globalization is different from the mission of religion, but when unity and one goal may instill in the minds of many people, the negativity may not grow foster in different aspects.
Lesson 2.1, the major religious traditions. Number 1, Christianity. Christianity is the most widely practiced religion in the world, with more than 2 billion followers. The Christian faith centers on beliefs regarding the birth, life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. So we are the Christianity. Number 2, the Judaism. Judaism is a monotheistic one religion developed among the ancient Hebrews. Judaism characterized by a belief in one transcendent God who revealed himself to Abraham, Moses, and the Hebrew prophets, and by a religious life in accordance with scriptures and, and rabbinic traditions. So, monotheistic means oneness. Oneness, yung ibang religion kasi ay may tinatawag na Trinity. Yung the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Pero itong oneness ay naniniwala lamang sila sa only God, one God. 3. Islam is the major world religion promulgated by the Prophet Muhammad in Arabia in the 7th century. The believer on Islam is called Muslim. Their God creator is Allah. So, Islam, yung mga naniniwala sa Islam ay yung mga Muslim. Tinatawag nila yung kanyang God na Allah. Hinduism, and then Buddhism. Buddhism believe that human life is suffering and that meditation, spiritual and physical labor, and good behavior are the ways to achieve enlightenment or nirvana. Ito yung mga nagme-meditate para ma-enlighten sila. Pagkatapos ng meditation ay ma-enlighten sila. Comparison between religion and globalism. Globalism aims to seal trade deals, raise the profit of private enterprises, improve government revenue collections, protect the elites from excessively taxed by the state, and enrich themselves. While religion deals with a religious person's main duty is to live a virtuous, sinless life, such as that when they die, they are assured of a place in the other world, which is the heaven. So, globalism ay parang nagfo-focus sila sa mga material dito sa earth. Pero itong religion ay nagfo-focus sila sa mga spiritual. Kasi naniniwala sila na pagkatapos ng ating buhay dito sa earth ay may heaven na pupuntahan. That is the focus of religion. But yung globalism, nagpo-focus sila sa material or tinatawag na magpayaman.
Lesson 2.3, Relationship of Religion and Globalism. Globalization helps to increase greater religious tolerance and acceptance of other culture and religion that enhances our mind, knowledge, and etc. With globalization, religion becomes a culture of pluralism that teaches us to respect of other religions.
Okay, so tulad nga ng sinabi ko kanina na globalization ay tumutulong para ma-convey or para makita natin kung ano yung culture ng ibang bansa. Kaya ang relationship ng religion at globalism ay maging aware tayo kung ano yung culture ng ibang bansa, culture ng isang religion. Lesson 2.4, Realities. Pete Berger argues that far from being secularized, the contemporary world is furiously religious, and religions are the foundation of modern republics. Religion for and against globalization. Religious fundamentalism may dislike globalization's materialism, but it continues to use the full range of modern means of communication and organization that is associated with this economic transformation. So, di ba, minsan sa atin, yung mga Kristiyano, parang against sila sa globalization's materialism. Kasi alam po naman natin na ang religion ay nagfo-focus lamang sila sa spiritual. At yung globalization ay yung mga material. 'Di ba may mga nagsasabi na yung mga Christian may nagsasabing I don't need riches. Kailangan na lamang nila si God. So, ayan. Not entirely correct to assume that the proliferation of born-again groups, or in the case of Islam, the rise of movements like Daesh, more popularly known as ISIS, or Islamic State in Iraq and Syria, signals religion's defense against the materialism of globalization. That's it. That's all our report.